Now when it comes to prepping and survival, if you can find out one piece of kit that does more than one job, you're onto a winner. Now in today's video, I've got a piece of gear that not only does 1 or 2 jobs, it does 4. Let's take a look. What the hell is that? It's got 1200 lumens, so it's pretty bright. Roll like a pump action to me. Camera on the front. That just clicks into place. Plug out one, call in home base. Good. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking the time out to view the channel and click on the video. Yes, today's video we're going to check out a piece of equipment I've been sent that does numerous jobs, 4 jobs in fact. And it's something you may want to consider putting in your bug out bag or your go bag. But before we get into that, there are people out there who watch the videos but don't subscribe to the channel. So if you are one of those people, please consider about liking and subscribing to the channel. Help spread the word, help the channel grow. And if you do hit the notification bell, you will be alerted to any new content that comes out. Okay, thank you very much. Let's get on to the video. Right, so you join me today at Bug Out HQ here in the woods, and we've got a kit review. It's a beautiful autumn day. We're in late September, and as I said, we're in the woods and we're going to try out this kit. Now when it comes to kit, as I said before, if you can find that piece of equipment that does 1 or 2 jobs, you're onto a winner, aren't you? Because you're carrying less equipment for a start. You know, it's more versatile. And to go along the theme of the bug out bags and what to put in the bug out bags, we've done a couple of videos now, a couple of review videos, and we've gone through our list on what to pack in a bag, and this is tied in with that. So what is it? What is this piece of equipment we got? Well, let's have a look at it. It is the Hammock quilt from Onewind. Right, I've been sent this kindly, so full disclosure, I was given this free of charge to do a review, and I sent it a good few months ago now. Right, so yeah, I'm a bit behind on the old reviews, but now, this time of year, it's getting colder. I thought it'd be pretty good to get this review done, isn't it? Alright, that's what I think anyway. So what is it? What is it? It's sorry, I'm waffling. It's a hammock quilt, right? Everybody says, oh, what's a hammock quilt? I don't do hammock camping. Well, it's not just a hammock quilt. Like I said, it's 4 pieces of equipment in one. So it's a hammock quilt, which is a bit like a sleeping bag, right? But obviously no back to it. Okay, like a quilt on your bed, isn't it? It's a blanket. It's a sleeping bag, so you can form it into a sleeping bag. Plus you can wear it as a poncho liner. Alright? Don't worry, we're going to get all these configurations out and have a look in a minute. Now you might be thinking, what the hell is this going to do with bugging out or bug out bags? Well, as I said, it's a piece of equipment that does a few different jobs, so you're carrying less equipment. So what we're going to do, we get it out. What do you behave yourselves? We're lay it out on the floor, put it in the different configurations. I'll show you what it's all about, all the features. And now, before you say anything, I have used it, but it was in the warmer months. I'm yet to use it in the colder months, but you've got to bear in mind it's not a sleeping bag, right? So it's not going to be as warm in the colder months as a sleeping bag. But I'd say it's not designed to replace a sleeping bag, especially for the winter time. But in the warmer months, different climates, this will do the job. And if you don't want to watch a video, I don't blame you. All the dimensions, all the features, the links to where you can get one, they'll all be in the description below, right? Plus at the end, we'll go through the plus points and the negative points as per any review video. All right, sound like a plan? So I suppose the first step is just to unzip it and get it out and have a look. Bloody behave yourselves. Right, so it's got a compression sack, as you can see. It's okay, but I'll tell you later on what I think about it. All right. This comes with it as well, but I'll show you what's that all about later on. So that is it. Right. Now, as you can see, the ground is pretty dry. We've got the AstroTurf as our all weather camping pitches, right? So I ain't gonna worry about getting it all dirty on the ground. But here it is, right? That's the full size of it. So as you can see, it's 2-toned, right? So you've got the black on the inner, or the underside, or the inside of it, whatever you want to call it. And then on the outside, you've got this green colour, which I really like. I really like this green colour. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but is slightly tapered on the front, right? I'm not sure, I can't even see the camera from here, so I'm not sure what you can see. So there we are, that's, I suppose, is the first configuration, is it? The first use of this hammock quilt is a blanket, right? I don't have to bloody get under here, but if you, just to demonstrating it, you know, blanket, you know what a bloody blanket is, isn't it? So I don't have to show that. But it's not just a blanket. If you notice on the middle, we've got 3 poppers. Undo those, and you've got a nice flap or hole. Bloody behave yourselves, man, honestly, right? So that, you can turn this into poncho or poncho liner. So you've got a buckle and a strap just there. Connect them together. So there's your poncho liner, right? So you say you're bugging out, it's turned cold, you had this in your bag, and you know, you want to keep yourself nice and warm in it, you can just put this on. Now what I found is you've got poppers on the bottom as well. These are for a different purpose, but I'll show you that in a minute. But if you do close the poppers up like that, even the top one, tidy all up. That's your poncho liner, all right? Not very stylish, I know, but it's there to do a job, isn't it? And the job is to keep you nice and warm. Now I've got myself a Helicantex Swagman roll as well. Slightly different to this, you know, similar in such a way, but there's a few different features on that which aren't on this. One of them, you might notice, there's no hood, all right? No hood on this one. Having no hood is not a deal breaker in my opinion, because it's not something I'd wear, is it, you know, a hood, unless, you know, a rain jacket and it's pouring down the rain, yeah, you might want to put your hood up. But otherwise, you know, say you just wear this because it's cold, having that hood, you know, it obscures your view, doesn't it? When you're looking around, you want to obviously be aware what's going on in your environment. You're better off just having a bobble hat on or some sort of hat to keep your head nice and warm. So the lack of a hood is not a deal breaker for me. But as you can see, say you were bugging out somewhere and you know it's a cold climate, you just want to put something nice and warm on and still function. You still got your arms, and you, or maybe just out in the wilderness, you know, perhaps you're sitting down fishing or doing something and just want to keep nice and warm. It's a good option, I think. And while we're talking about bugging out, say you are, you know, you're pitching up for the night, you just built yourself a bit of a shelter, or you, like say, you could be in a hammock, and you don't want to get perhaps into like different clothing, or you don't want to get into a sleeping bag. You know, the fear of bugging out, you know, at the moment's notice. This, you can just put this on, get inside your shelter, your basher or your hammock, and hopefully get a bit of sleep. And then if you did have to bug out, you know, for whatever reason, you know, just a case of just getting up, you've already got your warm clothing on, and you know, grab your bag and go. So that could be another good reason why you might want to pack something like this in your bag. But you might have numerous different other suggestions or reasons why this would be a good fit. So please feel free to put them in the comments below. Okay? Right, so I'll get this off now and I'll show you another couple of features about it. Let's have a look. Right, so I'm buckling myself. Poppers out. So the next feature, I'm going to roll it over so we've got the underside facing up. And this time I'm going to turn it into a hammock quilt, which is, you know, in its name. So the idea of a hammock quilt is, unlike a sleeping bag where you've got obviously your sleeping bag on your back, and you as well, the hammock quilt just goes on the top. But you can form like a boot box at the bottom to get your feet in, all right? Right, to do that, just fold the two ends in, and you've got a series of poppers, as we just seen when I was wearing it as a poncho liner. So we'll put the poppers together, pop them in place, I suppose is the right terminology. I suppose I don't know how far you want to go up. That's that's all in there, I suppose. Right, so you've got your poppers in place just like that, and then at the bottom you've got this shock cord or some sort of cord, and just cinch them up like that. So then you've got your boot box at the bottom, right, or footwell, whatever you want to call it. So there we are. That's your hammock quilt with your boot box at the bottom, right? So I'll just get on the floor to bloody demonstrate it. So that's all cinched around the bottom of your legs. Keep your legs nice and warm. And then just got your quilt then to cover you if you're in the hammock. So for those people who like hammock camping, this is a good option. So there we are, there's the boot box or footwell created at the bottom of the quilt. There is a problem with sleeping bags, especially if you're hammock camping, is when they're compressed on your back, they lose their heat retention properties, don't they? So that's the idea of a quilt, and a quilt is getting more and more popular these days, but obviously you need some sort of way of insulating yourself off the ground, you know, so you need a camping mat, which I'll also show you in a minute, because there's a feature to use this with a camping mat, right? But if you're in a hammock, if you've got an under quilt underneath your hammock, you're already insulated off the ground, so you don't need any protection on your back. You just want a quilt, and that's what this does. So there we are, that's the hammock quilt done. So we've had the blanket, we've had poncho liner, and we've had the hammock quilt. Right, yeah, back to the blanket now. So the last one is sleeping bag, right? So you can make a sleeping bag out of it, sort of, all right? I will say sort of. So again, we'll put it down, green side down first. So the inside is facing up. Again, we'll do exactly as we did before, making the hammock quilt, making this footwell at the bottom. Cinch them up. Keep your toes nice and warm. That's all done. So to make the sleeping bag, you've also got these little clips up. Okay, so they just join together. At the top, and you've also got a couple of poppers in to make yourself a sleeping bag. Now it's a little bit different than a traditional sleeping bag. You haven't got the zip obviously going down the side or the top. You've got them little clips, and it don't close completely like a zip would. But you got to remember, a sleeping bag does one job, this does four. So if you want to get it as a sleeping bag, that means I've got to get on the ground again. Just undo a couple of those. Shouldn't be in here with my bloody shoes on really, should I? Get yourself in there. That's what she said. Do your clips up. Right. Puts at the bottom. Then you've got this cord in up the top. You can cinch that if you want to get your arms in there. So you can cinch that nice and tight. The trap there. Trap the warmth in. There you are, sleeping bag. So there we are, there's a sleeping bag. There's the four features of it. I suppose the four different jobs it can do. Yes, like I said, that configuration is not exactly like a sleeping bag. You haven't got the hood, and it's not completely fastened up, you know, you've got a few gaps here. But it will do the job to a certain extent, don't it? Right, so it's not a replacement for a sleeping bag. It's a different bit of kit altogether. Now insulation wise, again, as I just said, it's not going to replace a sleeping bag, but it's a good bit of insulation here compared to my Helen Tech Swagman, which is this one. Right, very similar piece of kit, zips up the sides so you can make a sleeping bag, a blanket, poncho liner. But when it comes to thermal values, this is rated down to about 2 degrees Celsius. I'll put the details below exactly. But, or there, yeah, I'll put the details there, look, alright. But with all sleeping bags I found and sleeping systems, the temperature ratings I take with a pinch of salt, right? This I wouldn't use in the winter, you know, unless that's all I had, but I'd have other clothing on as well. But I wouldn't rely on this in the winter. But what I can say is a lot thicker than the Helicantex Swagman, right? This hasn't got as much insulating material, well, it feels like it anyway. Whereas this Onewind hammock quilt is really quilted, you know, it's really nice. But if you think about it, you know, you'd use this together with an underquilt, plus any warm layers you got on. So with all them sort of systems in place, you should be warm up to a certain point anyway. So we've seen the 4 configurations, haven't we? 4 jobs it does. There's one more thing. This comes with it, right? You might be thinking, what the hell is that? I did at first until I read about it. But what it does, this connects to your airbed. So if you are using it for camping, this will go around the airbed and it will attach then to your quilt, right? So it stops you slipping off the airbed. As if by magic, I have got an airbed, right? This is my airbed, my Rab. Really good airbed this is. So we get that pumped up, and to do that I've got this new pump from Nightcore. Again, I've been sent this to review. Another free bit of kit. Oh, I can't complain. That's it. Small, compact, look at that. It's really lightweight plus strong. I'll do a proper review on this on another video. So why we pump the airbed up? Well, that's because we want to test out this little device. This piece of material, isn't it, with some straps. That's supposed to go around the mat and attach to your hammock quilt and stops it from sliding off, you know, so if you're sleeping. So we'll try that out now. So we've got the airbed. Hopefully you can still see me. Here we are. So this just slides underneath, so the material of it goes underneath and the straps on the top. There we go. And then you've got these little clips which you undo and just make sure the clip is separated so it's on either side of the airbed. Right, so undo those clips, separate them out. 2, 3. So I should have one that side and one that side. Now the theory is, put that on the deck now and should be able to clip that to the hammock quilt, right? And they just clip into place. So the idea behind that, you don't need, you know, cover for your back via a sleeping bag, because you've got the airbed to insulate you, and your quilt obviously just covers your top half, and to save the quilt coming off the airbed, you know, if you're rolling around at night, it's attached to it. I can see a couple of problems with it. These straps, you know, we've got to lie on top of those. That would probably irritate me a bit, but I can see them, you know, why they've done it. If it's something I would use, probably not. But that's what it is anyway, because it only stops the top half from rolling off. So if you didn't want to get in under your quilt at night, yeah, it's going to stop that sliding off a little bit, but there's nothing stopping the bottom half sliding off. And is it that much of an issue if the quilt slides off the airbed anyway? You know, it's not going to stop you rolling off it. Anyway, that's what it's designed for. Let's get out of this thing. Oh, you know, it's coming with me. Right, so there it is. Hopefully you've seen it all. There's the Onewind hammock quilt. Now what do I think about it? The pros and cons now, isn't it? So, pros, it's extremely well made, right? It's just the, you know, the touch of it, the look of it. You can see it's a quality piece of kit, as most of that stuff is. I don't know if you know much about Onewind, but they do really good hammocks, quilts, tarps, all sorts of camping gear. They do tarp tents, and it's really good stuff. For a hammock quilt, it's quite lofted, got quite a good bit of quilted material in there. It's an upgrade from their previous design, so it should keep you a lot warmer. The colour, I said, is another plus point. I really like the colour, and the practicality is pretty good, isn't it? You know, it does 4 jobs in one. Price point, I think these come in for about 80 to 90 pounds. Probably a little bit cheaper than the Hurricane Tech Swagman, but depends on where you get it. And it's lightweight. I think it's about 1 kilogram in weight, right? Which isn't bad for this sort of size product. For the downsides then, I suppose it's a little bit bulky, right? It does come with a compression sack, which is there, but compared to the Swagman roll, it's a little bit more bulky. But that's because it's got a bit more insulation value in it, I think. The compression sack, yeah, it's got 1 strap on it, right? So it doesn't compress very well. Really, you could do with 2 straps on it. So if we get that in the bag now, you'll see what I mean. So that's it in the bag, look. Right, just cinch that down. And like I said, the compression sack, it's got 1 compression strap on it, which will do the job to a certain extent, won't it? So there we are. But I just think if it had 2 straps on it, you can probably compress that down a lot more, get that more compact. So if you're thinking bug out bags, you've got to try and obviously maximise the space you've got in your bag. So if you can compress that down a bit better, it will take up less room, obviously. I suppose the only other negative, I suppose, is not to expect too much from it in cold weather, right? It's not going to replace a really good synthetic or down sleeping bag. So for those who think, oh, you're in a cold climate, I'll stick this in my go bag, bug out bag, and I'll be nice and warm. You won't be, right? Unless you've got more clothing on and you've got layers, perhaps some sort of survival bag, foil bag as well. Obviously, it will keep you warm to a certain extent, but it's no replacement for a sleeping bag. But it's not designed for a replacement for a sleeping bag, right? It's a hammock quilt. So, that's the only negative I can think of it. This thing, I can understand why, it comes with this, but for me, I probably never use that. If you're in a hammock, you don't need that anyway, do you? Because you can find anyway, But if you're in a tent and you're using it as a quilt, that's not going to stop you sliding off the airbed, right? And yeah, it might stop the quilt sliding off the airbed, but more likely you can have all of this anyway, aren't you? So I don't think it's worth it. It's a little bit pointless myself. But as far as this is concerned, yeah, a really good piece of kit. If I can get that more compressed, this is something I really consider going in a go bag or get on bag. If you do want to check out Onewind and all their gear, I'll put the links below. And if you if you want all the dimensions and the features about this, they'll be in the links below as well. All right. So the last thing I say, if you are thinking of a go bag, bug out bag, and you want a piece of equipment that will do 4 jobs: blanket, sleeping bag, poncho liner, and hammock quilt, this is the one. Right, there it is. There's the video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please think about liking, subscribing, hit the notification bell, and if you do want to see some more videos, check that one out and that one, and I'll catch you again next time. All the best.